So what's your favourite Magneto quote?
Well, it has to be from the X-Men arcade game, where he explodes through a wall and just says, "I am Magneto, master of magnet."
I am Magneto, master of magnet.
Few actors have had a career as iconic or celebrated as that of Sir Ian McKellen, a guy who has played both Gandalf the Grey and the Master of Magnetism, Magneto. The latter of which required Sir Ian McKellen to wear a fitted buff suit. I love that, a buff suit. fucking buff suit. Why's Magneto got to be buff? Have you read any comics of X-Men?
Not the comics,
Like,
I've only seen the film.
It's like, so a lot of people are like, yeah, Sir Ian McKellen, he is Magneto, but in all the comics and in all the games, Magneto is super buff. You know, he's still an old man, but he's just real buff. And it doesn't really make any sense, does it? Because his powers are control over the magnetic spectrum. He doesn't really need to be buff to be threatening. If anything, he'd be scarier if he was just a 95-year-old man, just like exploding cars and firing shards of like iron he tore from your own blood towards your eyeballs. But like in all the comics he's appeared in and all the games, Magneto is buff as fuck.
Just imagine him as like a frail old man who's just like walking on like a Zimmer frame and he's just
Well, the thing is, he wouldn't.
next to him.
That'd be scarier. It's like if you had the Zimmer frame, you go to him, go on, Magneto, get out of here, and the Zimmer frame just turns into a snake and starts strangling you as he just beats you over the head with his rings. I think a Magneto he is an old man would be scarier because like that's why Professor X works, because Professor X is in a fucking wheelchair, but he can explode your mind or make you think you're like a 4-year-old girl.
You do that? I'd have Jean braid your hair.
That's a threat. Like if the two threats there, if a man said, "I will punch you with my knife hands," or the guy says, "I will make you think you are somebody else. I won't destroy you. I'll destroy the essence of your humanity and leave you a broken husk of a human being, while all your wife and kids just cry she's no longer the person they knew." That's a scary ass threat. That's a man you don't want to fuck with. As well, he can stop time, can't he? When Professor X, he doesn't stop time, but he makes everyone just stop moving. He breaks like the president's office in the second one, which is terrifying. Like he gets in a wheelchair.
Good morning, Mr. President.
It's like that means that like Cyclops wheeled Professor X in past all of his guards who were like frozen. I'd like to think as well, like, he has to wheel him back out and he has to wheel him into the X-Jet. And he has like the X-Jet's got one of those things like and just draws Professor X up. Do you think Professor X, like, he's in a wheelchair? Do you think he likes when people push him around? Like, do you think like Jean Grey offers like, "I'll use my psychic powers to lift you onto the Blackbird," and he goes, "No, I'll do it myself," and he sits there like Roy in the IT crowd when he's just staring as like the tiny lift goes up super slow. And you've got like Beast and Cyclops looking at the watch going, "For fuck's sake."
But Karl, why does
Magneto?
Magneto?
Magneto.
Magneto.
I will buy that. I will buy a
That's his ice cream.
I will buy a Magneto con. Do you think he could use the foil wrapper to kill people? That's the way. Like, so that's the explanation for why he can fly.
Yeah.
He has metal put throughout his suit and he levitates that, not him, so he can fly. So does that mean if he got a cornetto, he could feed himself by controlling the foil and just moving it towards his mouth?
Yeah, I imagine so.
Well, his control over magnetism is never really defined. Like they say, he can move continents if he wants to.
Yeah.
If he really got pissed off, he can move a continent or a mountain. Or like, I think he lives on an asteroid in one comic that he moves around with his mind called Asteroid M. I'm not making this up, this is all real. And then at the same time, there's like one cartoon where Reed Richards makes him lose all his powers because he threatens him with a wooden gun.
Why will the gun not obey me? My power is gone. I'm helpless.
That's another one, that's a true one. That he gets threatened with a wooden gun because he thinks his powers, because he thinks it's not working, so he can't control the gun. He just lets himself be arrested.
What? A wooden gun?
Bloody hell.
But oh yeah, what were you going to ask, Nish? Sorry, I got a bit carried away.
Why does Magneto have to be buff?
That's like the greatest sentence. Why does he need to be so buff? Well, he doesn't need to be buff, but his origins are tied to World War II because he's described as being a survivor of the Holocaust. And that's incredibly important to his backstory and his characterization. And as the comics have gone on, it's been really difficult to justify the chief primary threat of the X-Men being a 90-year-old man. So what they've done is through various comic shenanigans, just de-aged him multiple times. I think in one comic he gets turned into a baby, and then Professor X is like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to raise this baby right. We're going to raise this baby to not be a dickhead, to not try and murder everyone with magnet powers. And then he gets aged back up to a older but still younger than he was before. And then he's like de-aged himself like via other scientific means. There are a few lines in a couple of comics that say, well, his powers are linked to his physical state, and the better he is physically, the more control he has over his powers. But at the same time, that doesn't necessarily mean he has to be a young man in the prime of his life. It just means he has to be physiologically just okay.
Yeah.
So on some level, being a young, fit, buff dude probably does help. But at the same time, his powers don't really require any physical exertion on his part. And if anything, his powers help him become stronger and more powerful because he wears a suit filled with metal plates and metal fibers that he uses his magnet powers to basically strengthen and enhance to increase his durability to such an extent he can survive punches from like the Hulk and Colossus. Also, he can use it in the same way to increase the power of his own blows. Which is why, again, I think an old man Magneto is scarier. Like, the example I use is, in Jackass, when Johnny Knoxville dresses like an old man and just flies through a plate glass window on a moped, and everyone's like, oh my god, look at this old man doing some crazy shit. That's what I want to see. I want to see an X-Men, when they bring the X-Men to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, hire the oldest man you can find to play Magneto and just make him use CGI to fuck everyone's day up. And that's ignoring the fact that, realistically, no one would ever get close enough to Magneto to test this, because it's also, like said in comics, he can make force fields that can stop everything short of a nuclear explosion. He can fly at hypersonic speeds. He can control the magnetic field to such an extent he can move things on the other side of the world. Like, realistically, a fight with Magneto is just every metal object in the room slapping your dick at once, while he sat 10 miles away watching TV. It's like, there is no winning against that man. Think about how amazingly powerful this dude is. And then they put him in like the plastic prison, which I found hilarious. The plastic prison to me is so fucking brilliant. It's such a good idea.
Yeah.
The idea, we have to make a prison made of plastic to stop this man. Because it's so fucking dangerous, like let him have anything. And it shows him escaping with like a ball bearing that big. So that's what you can do with a ball bearing. Imagine what you could do if he just like got the Golden Gate Bridge, which I never understood. You've seen the third one, haven't you?
Yeah.
When we need to go kill this kid, and he lifts up the entire Golden Gate Bridge and then drops it on the entrance so they can run in and fight hand to hand, instead of dropping the entire bridge on the place he's trying to destroy. Just drop the bridge on Alcatraz and kill everybody in one go and then fly off like a dickhead. You don't need to fight people hand to hand. You're fucking Magneto.
So what's this got to do with the fitted buff suit?
The fitted buff suit. I wrote that and I still find it funny to say. Well, obviously, because Magneto's physicality is apparently very important to him in the comics, when they hired Sir Ian McKellen to play him in the films, they're like, well, we can't really expect Ian McKellen. We can't ask Sir Ian to hit the gym. So what they did is they got the costume department to design a costume of specifically a undersuit that was fitted to his body type that enhanced his physique and made him wear that. Which is why if you watch the film or like look at pictures of him in the suit, he's looking all right. He's all like Sir Ian McKellen. And there was a few people asking, like, did you work out? I was like, no, I didn't do anything. They gave me a suit that made me look buff, and I just waved my hands around for 20 minutes. And apparently, like, he would joke with Hugh Jackman about it when he was like offset working out and laugh about it, saying, oh, it's a real shame that like, I'm just watching him get like force-fed chicken and go to the gym 5 times a day, and I just put on this suit that I just wear, and that's all I have to do.
But the trick is that I am wearing underneath my costume a suit which is sculpted to look as if I've put all the effort as he has into it. Yeah.
I just had a suit. All I had to wear was a suit. And then he leans in and goes, I still wear it. They let me take it home. And he wears it at home.
Oh, that's
Which is fucking brilliant. Like, Ian McKellen sometimes walks around his house dressed like Magneto.
And I'll tell you what, I've still got it at home. I didn't wear it on occasion.
And I'm now thinking, what would you do if you're his neighbour and you see that?
Just imagine, like, looking over the fence and he's just mowing his lawn in the suit.
No, he's not mowing his lawn. He has like one of those automatic mowers. And he's stood like Magneto with his arms crossed, pretending to do it with his head. Mum, don't we live next door to Ian McKellen? Yeah, so why is Magneto on his lawn? It's just the idea that he kept the costume. Because, of course, like, you're not going to stop him from taking the fucking costume back, are you? He's Ian fucking McKellen. But the idea that he still wears it at home when he's a bit bored. Like, he sometimes every now and just puts the outfit back on. And that's fucking awesome. That's the image I want to leave everybody with. So we just mentioned that sometimes Sir Ian McKellen occasionally busts out, like, the fitted buff suit he wore as Magneto. And I'm now thinking, like, that's quite a common trend, especially in superhero movies. Like, it's the famous story is that Ryan Reynolds kept the Deadpool suit after he finished filming Deadpool 1. And the story is that on the very last day of shooting, they did some pickup shots in the Deadpool suit. He said, I walked off wearing it. And a guy off to the side said, Ryan, you're going to take that off? And he went, no, and got into his car and drove home. It's like, he refused to take it. He just went, no, and walked off. And I'd like to now think, like, he was driving home in that costume. What do you think people thought when they just saw Deadpool driving a car? So they look out and they just see Ryan Reynolds in full Deadpool costumes waving at them. Like that to me is the most. It's so fitting for that film because that is the ultimate fourth wall break. That after filming completely wrapped, Deadpool walked off the set in full Deadpool costume and went home. Chris Pratt, he did the same thing. He kept the full Star-Lord outfit.
I was thinking of Star-Lord. I was like, that'd be a great outfit to take home.
What's what he did? He stole the Star-Lord outfit, and when someone asked him why, he said, "Oh, because so I can go to hospitals." So when he was doing the press tour for Guardians of the Galaxy, whatever city he went to, he put the outfit on and he'd go to the hospital, the local hospitals, and talk to the kids there. And there was loads of actors who did. I think
saying someone else did that, didn't they?
That was Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp keeps the Jack Sparrow costume about so he can wear it when he goes to hospitals. Because I think a little girl wrote him a letter because she knew they were filming nearby, saying she wanted to run a mutiny on her classroom. And he turned up in full Jack Sparrow costume and told her, always listen to your teachers, otherwise you'll be a pirate like me. So with that in mind, is there any superhero costume that you're upset that the actor didn't take home to wear? Because mine's going to be Blade. Because I would love it if like Wesley Snipes would have taken that costume, because that would mean we would have stories every now and again of Blade turning up to like hospital events and terrifying all the children. It's like, if you're in a hospital, oh yeah, look, it's Deadpool turned up, Captain Jack Sparrow turned up, Star-Lord turned up, no, Blade walks in, just a huge black man in sunglasses with a shotgun and a trench coat, walking into the maternity wards going, who needs help? So, no, Mr. Blade. Just doing sick ninja moves to the nurse. So, is there any like other actors you think should have kept their costume?
The guy who plays Drax, Dave Bautista.
Oh, but that's like full body paint though. Are you saying
exactly.
You want him to just like keep the body paint on and just walk around? People would just think he's got something wrong with him because he's like, especially before the release of the first film, and knowing who the fuck he was. You just think that's a man with the weirdest skin condition I've ever seen because he's green with like red veiny things all over his skin. He didn't keep the costume, but what he did ask for was a lunchbox. Because this is fucking true. Dave Bautista collects lunchboxes. That's his hobby. Yeah. And when Guardians of the Galaxy got released, he asked them for the first like lunchbox they made with him on it, so he could have it and show it to his daughter. And then when he appeared in Guardians, they asked for the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and the Infinity War one and like Endgame. He wanted it all, so he collects lunchboxes. And he's so huge and buff, the idea that he just sits at home. I think there's even like a video out there of him on YouTube showing off his collection where he's like really happily going, and this is a lunchbox that's got me on it. And you just see this like huge fridge-shaped man just like gleefully like going over like, oh, look at this, look at the painting detail on this lunchbox. Like, I appreciate you, Dave Bautista. You're a fucking hero. I can't wait to see I can't wait to see him in fucking Suicide Squad. It's like the rumour is like it's like King Shark or some shit. Can't wait.
Oh, they're bringing another one of them out.
Yeah, but it's James Gunn. They immediately brought in just fucking Dave Bautista. You just jump ship immediately. Like, I'll stick it with James Gunn. And the rumour is going to make him Bane.